And now, here to entertain you all, because every day he's hustling. Side Hustle Cinema.
Welcome back to the channel. Side Hustle Cinema here. Thanks for clicking on this video. And guys, today we're going to be doing a video to figure out, are you a movie snob? Because I think I've become one over time since I've started becoming more and more of a collector. And, you know, at the beginning it was probably more about the movie. Now there's so many other factors. I've kind of become a movie snob or a format snob. And I kind of came up with a little test that you can take. It's just 10 questions. And the more yeses you get, probably the bigger movie snob you are. So that's going to be today's video. Hopefully you enjoy it. I had fun with this one. So what is a movie snob? Well, it's someone who is a little more format, you know, like a format snob. They prefer the 4K to the Blu-ray, or the Blu-ray to the DVD, and also, you know, they're big into packaging. It's kind of like maybe more of your hardcore collector. But, you know, it's when you kind of start to look down a little bit on the other formats. And, you know, how can you not when, you know, they're constantly, like, even the wording of this, of the stuff that comes out. You know, you have the special edition, the limited edition, and then you got the standard edition. You know, it kind of just makes it feel like a lesser than thing anyway. Now, in my private life, I am definitely not an elitist whatsoever. Not a snob at all. You know, live in a modest house. Drive a really old car. I drive a 2007 car. Gonna get a new one this year, though, hopefully. And you know, the most expensive clothes I own are these horror T-shirts. And yeah, so yeah, I'm completely not an elitist, not a snob in my real life. But when it comes to my collecting life, my movies, well, that's another story. So let's go ahead and jump into this this test. It's just a fun little test, and if you're already triggered by, you know, the title of the video, if you think you're going to be one of those people that, you know, doesn't like this for one reason or another, well, I invite you to go ahead and piss off. You can go ahead and leave and save us all the trouble. But if you're cool and you're down to have some fun, well, that's what we like to do over here at Side Hustle Cinema. So yeah, if you're checking us out for the first time, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're unsubscribed, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this. So, question number 1. I got my notes down here so I don't miss anything. Question number 1. Does this typically describe you? Okay. New release comes out. 95% of the time, you're passing up the DVD to buy either the Blu-ray or the 4K. And I left it at 95% because there's always some reason out there that someone might pick up a DVD, I guess. But for the most part, you're going to pick up the Blu-ray or the 4K instead of the DVD. All right, question 2 is very similar. So new release Tuesday comes out. You got a movie that comes out, and it's on both formats. You got Blu-ray and 4K. And 90% of the time, you are most likely going to pick up that 4K instead of the Blu-ray. If you answer yes to that one, then, you know, you might be a little bit of a format snob, a little bit of a movie snob. Question number 3, and this one may not apply to everyone, but do you collect older formats, not to watch them, but only because they're pretty cool? And I'm talking about VHS or Laserdisc. I have a working VCR. You know, I've got the little HDMI adapter, and so it is actually hooked up, but I never use it. I just never use it. I do have some VHS floating around, but I don't watch them. And I have a nice little stack of Laserdiscs. Matter of fact, right over there in the corner, that's a Animal House Laserdisc, and there's a little stack behind it. But those are pretty much for getting autographed or just for display purposes only. I don't even have a Laserdisc player. So do you collect older formats just because they're cool? Not to watch them. Question number 4. Are you pre-ordering or buying early, buying day one so that you don't miss out on that special packaging, the steelbook, the slipcover, the chunky box set, You don't want to miss that steelbook. You got to get it day one. You're scared of missing out. Got to get that chunky box set before it goes away. Or like the newest VSU from Vinegar Syndrome. You don't want to miss out like with the Roadhouse situation. Do you find yourself pre-ordering or pulling the trigger a little early because you don't want to miss out on that special packaging? Question number 5. Do you have like special spots in your shelving or in your display area for your movies where you're going to put the maybe the steel books or the chunky box sets or your more premium titles, the boutique titles? Are you kind of maybe putting those DVDs on the bottom run, or maybe they're in that closet shelf, or maybe you got them boxed up in a closet like I do. That's their special spot in my movie room, is boxed up in a closet. So do you have like a preferred spot for your special titles? All right, question number 6. Do you double dip, buying the same, and this is the same format, is what I mean. So like, are you buying like a 4K? Are you buying the slipcover edition and the steelbook edition just because of the packaging, or something like that? It's the same disc basically. You're not upgrading from Blu-ray to 4K. That's a different thing. But in this case, you're buying the same format. You're just doing it more than once because, well, you like the packaging or you like the special slips, something like that. Are you a double dipper? What are we up to? Question 7, I think. So question 7 is, have you ever done this? Or so like when you're watching like someone on YouTube and they're showing their movies, and they show something that doesn't have a slip that comes with the slip. Are you saying in your head, or maybe even out loud to someone watching it with you or something, "Hey, where's your slip, buddy? Where is that slip at?" Or something like that. Because I see it sometimes on streams where YouTubers are showing each other their stuff, and you pull out the title and someone wants to know where's that slip. Are you one of those people? Do you spot that right away? That could also be the situation with like chunky box sets. Someone pulls out that standard copy, and that there's a chunky box set. Are you kind of questioning that in your mind a little bit? Are you kind of calling them out? Maybe not out loud or in the comment section, but in your mind. Are you doing that? Could be a little bit of a movie snob. Now, number 8 is something I see other YouTubers doing to each other all the time in live streams and stuff. And that is, they're always quick, and you might do it at home too when you're watching the videos. That's why I put this one in there. When someone shows off a, like a movie, and maybe they pull out the DVD, or maybe they just pull out like a basic Blu-ray, and you're quick to let them know, "Hey, I've got that one, the special edition." Or "I've got that one on 4K. They'll say it casually, but ultimately, you're kind of one-upping them. Do you find yourself doing that? I do that all the time. I watch people's videos, And there's one guy in particular. I'm not going to call him out or name names because I really like his content, but he sure does show a lot of DVDs. He's got like a big DVD collection, and every time he pulls out a DVD, I'm like, man, I've got 3 special editions of that. And I almost want to comment, but I don't, because I'm not that big of a snob. But, I always say it in my head. Are you like that too? And this also applies to people who, you'll see it on live streams and stuff where they'll pull out like, the fancy box set or something. They'll pull out like this one, and they'll be showing this one, and then the other YouTuber has to go, I've got that one. I've got that one too. Sometimes I'll even pull it up and show it. You always got to make sure that someone's not getting over on you, or you got them one upped. Question number 9: do you pass on a movie? Now this one's definitely a movie snob kind of a thing to do, and that is, have you ever passed on a movie just because the special packaging was no longer in stock? And I mean, like, now maybe you don't have that many opportunities because you're such a movie snob, but when those opportunities have come up where you've missed out on something, or maybe something is a little older and you didn't start collecting at that time, and all the fancy stuff's gone, the slip cover, the chunky box set, or the steelbook's gone. Do you just pass on that one? Do you pass on those? I know Hamilton book, they always have some, really, a little bit cheaper, but they're always the standard editions. And I am like almost never tempted to buy from them, like those boutique labels without the slips, without the special box set, the chunky box sets, or that special packaging. I just really won't do it. The last one I bought was The Guest. From Second Sight. I missed out on that chunky box set, and it really bugs me. It bugs me. Like, even when I showed it off just recently, in a stream, I was talking about the movies I have on 4K that's not available here in the States. In a video I just did, and I was showing off The Guest, and I don't have that chunky box set for it, and yeah, it kind of bugs me. I don't like it. And I have definitely passed on movies in which I did not get that slip. I remember when one of the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels put out that Wrestling with Shadows, the Bret Hart documentary. Now, I've seen that documentary several times on TV, and I was going to pick up the that pink Bret Hart slipcover. It was really cool, and I did not expect it to sell out so quick, and I didn't pull the trigger fast enough. And the thing sold out. And once it did, I just was no longer interested in buying the movie. It felt incomplete to me. And number 10. Number 10 is the one that I think is very controversial. This one's maybe the question that rubs people the wrong way. Just depends on how you take it. So I'm going to try to explain it. Do you look down on someone else's collection if they constantly, show DVDs, or if they really don't get the boutique titles, things like that? Do you start to get a lesser opinion of their collection? Not necessarily them. If you look down on people because of their collection, then that kind of makes you an asshole. That's not a snob. That's, you're being a jerk at that point. But, listen, sometimes people do it all the time in their real life. You got the guy that spends, a ton of money on like a brand new fancy car. They got some kind of fancy sports car. I don't even know what it would be, but and then you roll up in your Toyota Corolla. And you're like, hey, buddy, look at us. Couple car guys here. And they got like their, Ferrari or something. And you're like, no, No, we're not quite the same. I think people do that with their collections too a little bit. If you're honest with yourself, that one's a little tough though. It's not easy to admit that you kind of look down. But we also put people on pedestals too. I mean, if you think about some of the people you follow on YouTube, you kind of hold them up in a little bit higher regard because they buy a lot of fancy stuff. You know, they're buying One Clicks and Manta Labs and these really rare, you know, exclusive steel books and, you know, the fancy box sets and imports. Don't you kind of put those people a little bit on a pedestal? So if you do, most likely the reverse of that would be true, and maybe you do look down on someone's collection a little bit. That's not a fun one to admit. That one stings a little. No one wants to admit that. Try not to do that. try to be a better person. But anyway, those are the 10 questions. Let me know in the comments section, how did you score? I want to know. I want to know your number. Mine's pretty much a 10 out of 10. I mean, the number 10 I'm not proud of, but I'm sure I've done it a little bit. But yeah, I'm kind of a 4K snob a little bit. I go out of my way to import 4Ks from other places just to not get the Blu-ray. I know like Abigail's coming out on Blu-ray, and I keep checking constantly other countries looking for the 4K, because I just feel like Abigail's going to be available in 4K somewhere, because I think you can get it digitally in 4K, so there's a 4K edition somewhere out there. So it's stuff like that I'm always on the lookout for. Definitely a 4K snob, definitely a packaging snob too. I like the whole reason I collect German media books is because they look cool. They got cool artwork on them, and they're super exclusive. So yeah, I mean, in my collector life, big time snob. Alright guys, hopefully you had fun with this one. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you're unsubscribed, I invite you to subscribe. And as always, stay safe, have fun, keep watching those movies. Keep, trying to not be a snob, I guess. But it's okay too. It's really just another word for being a hardcore collector, I think. But yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.